The truth behind the new Coke failure, was it a mistake or a genius plan?
Picture this. A brand so powerful it represents capitalism, pop culture, and tradition all at once. For nearly a century, its secret formula was more than a recipe. It was a cultural constant in an ever-changing world. This brand is, of course, Coca-Cola. It wasn't just a drink, it was the taste of nostalgia, the symbol of America. So, what happened in 1985 wasn't just a marketing blunder. It was an act of corporate betrayal that sparked public outrage, market panic, and what could have been the biggest public relations catastrophe in history. It was the day Coca-Cola tried to fix what wasn't broken. This is the story of New Coke, the ultimate wrong move. By the early 1980s, Coca-Cola's dominance was under attack. Its lifelong rival, Pepsi, was aggressively gaining ground with a brilliant marketing campaign, the Pepsi Challenge. In blind taste tests broadcast across the nation, person after person chose the sweeter taste of Pepsi over Coca-Cola's classic formula. The results were undeniable. Although Coke still held the top spot in overall sales, the data showed its Achilles heel was taste. This sent a shockwave through Coca-Cola's headquarters. Panic set in. Instead of simply changing their marketing, the executives decided to do the unthinkable: change the 99-year-old secret formula. The decision was spearheaded by the company's ambitious CEO, Roberto Goizueta. The top-secret mission was internally codenamed Project Kansas. The company poured millions of dollars and years of research into developing a new, sweeter formula. They conducted over 200,000 consumer taste tests, one of the most exhaustive market research projects in history. The results seemed crystal clear. A significant majority preferred the new formula to both classic Coke and Pepsi. Armed with this data, the board of directors made a monumental and arrogant decision. They would retire the original Coca-Cola, the drink that had defined their brand for a century, and replace it entirely with this new concoction. The logic was simple. The data says it's better, so the public will love it. What could possibly go wrong? On April 23, 1985, Coca-Cola held a massive press conference in New York City to announce the change. CEO Goizueta stood before the world and boldly declared it the most significant marketing move in the history of the company. He called the new flavor smoother, rounder, yet bolder. But what followed wasn't the sound of applause. It was the sound of chaos. The public reaction was immediate, intense, and deeply emotional. People didn't just dislike the new taste, they felt betrayed. They didn't see it as a product update. They saw it as the erasure of a cultural icon, a piece of their own history. It was as if someone had tried to repaint the Mona Lisa. Protest groups like the Old Cola Drinkers of America sprang up overnight, organizing rallies and boycotts. They flooded the company's headquarters with angry letters and phone calls. The backlash was personal. People felt a sense of ownership over the classic formula. Stories emerged of die-hard fans driving across state lines to buy up the last remaining cases of the original Coke, hoarding it like a precious commodity. Some even started selling it on the black market for outrageous prices. The public wasn't just asking for a product back. They were demanding the return of a piece of their identity. So, why did Coca-Cola's extensive testing fail so spectacularly? The fatal flaw of the blind taste tests was that they only measured one thing: taste preference in a single sip. In that isolated moment, the sweeter flavor often wins. But the tests failed to account for the most powerful force in branding: emotion. They couldn't measure decades of brand loyalty, the memories associated with sharing a Coke with family, or the deep-seated cultural significance of the original formula. By taking it away, Coca-Cola inadvertently reminded everyone just how much they loved it, unleashing a wave of psychological ownership that no one in the company had ever anticipated. The situation at Coca-Cola headquarters was spiraling out of control. The once confident executives were now terrified. Their customer complaint hotline, which normally received a few hundred calls a day, was now overwhelmed with up to 1,500 angry calls every single day. Sales of New Coke plummeted. Even worse, Pepsi capitalized on the chaos, running ads that gloated over Coca-Cola's wrong move. The brand's prestige, built over a century, was sinking fast. The pressure became unbearable. Finally, just 79 days after its triumphant launch, Coca-Cola was forced to surrender. On July 11, 1985, the company held another press conference, but this time, the tone was dramatically different. In what is now considered one of the most humiliating corporate climb-downs in history, executives announced the return of the original formula, now rebranded as Coca-Cola Classic. The news was met with thunderous applause and national celebration. ABC News even interrupted its regular programming to break the story. It was as if a national hero had returned from the dead. The new Coke disaster is often called the greatest marketing blunder of all time. But here's the irony. This colossal failure ended up being the best thing that could have happened to Coca-Cola. The reintroduction of Coca-Cola Classic led to a massive surge in sales. The brand had not only won back its customers, but it also revitalized its image. The public celebrated its return with a fervor that demonstrated a level of brand loyalty that even Coca-Cola itself had forgotten it had. The company had stumbled backward into a marketing masterstroke. By the end of 1985, Coca-Cola Classic was dramatically outselling both New Coke and Pepsi, re-establishing its dominance more firmly than ever before. So what's the real lesson here? It's not just about taste. It's about the profound power of tradition, identity, and emotion in branding. Coca-Cola learned the hard way that when your product is a cultural icon, you can't just treat it like any other commodity to be tweaked and improved. Based on data alone, the decision to launch New Coke was driven by pure logic and numbers. But in the world of brands that sell nostalgia and a sense of belonging, emotion will always triumph over logic. By ignoring that emotion, Coca-Cola made the most famous wrong move in business history, creating a legendary case study that marketers and brand managers still learn from to this day. Thank you so much for watching. What are your thoughts on the New Coke story? Do you think it was a blunder or a stroke of genius in disguise? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the biggest moments in business history. See you in the next one.